goddamn paw. Get on! Thank you. Hi, it's Rika, and today I wanted to talk about fursuits. Specifically, things furries don't really talk about. What happens when owning suits. Now, first, I want to talk about waiting a long time for your fursuits. Everybody knows when you commission a suit from someone, it takes a very long time. That is not unknown, everyone knows that. Well, most of the time when you commission a fursuit, it'll take longer than expected. Now, this obviously all depends on which maker, which country they're from, what's their living situation. So this can change according to the situation. Now, most of the time when you commission a suit, you get an estimate of how long it would take for that suit to be finished. Now, when you do, keep in mind that this time will probably be longer than the thing expected. Now, I know it's not supposed to happen. Chances are it probably will. Now, don't be scared. You can talk to your maker and find some way to make it work. I have had 3 commissions. I had Ravi, Cursed Rika, which I don't want to talk about, and Maeve. And with 2 of those commissions, like the wait was 3 times longer than what was first estimated for them to arrive. Now this mostly was because of personal issues, but keep in mind that this can happen and don't get too mad at the maker. They're humans. Things happen. Life is hard. So if you commission a suit, you can expect to wait for a long time. And I know it's hard, but it makes it all the more rewarding when that baby finally gets there. The second is something I kind of didn't want to talk about, but it's problematic makers. Unfortunately, in my opinion, the very worst part about the furry fandom is that there are some horrible human beings in it that do some horrible stuff, and I don't want to get into it because it makes me really sad and nervous and depressed. But some fursuit makers have done some not so good stuff, and it's important to stay away from that. So before you choose a maker to get your suit made, please check if they have any problematic history. Usually, if there is a problematic maker, they have a file with evidence of things they might have done. Now, if this evidence checks out, you might want to stay clear of that maker. Note, there is a ton of false information and false accusations out there, so make sure you know the full story before you judge. Now, what happens if you already bought a suit from a maker, and then afterwards they end up being problematic? Your suit might get associated with the problematic things this maker has done, and this might cause you a lot of hardship. It might really suck, because when people see your suit, they might only think about the maker and what kind of horrible shit they have done. I don't really know what you can do about the stigma. Just tell them you didn't know. Now, if you do know a maker that is problematic and still commission from them, please don't. You are supporting this person and you are unintentionally supporting what they have done. So please, if you have a dream maker and they have done some bad shit, and it's proven that they actually did it, because that's important, then don't buy from them, because you don't want to support that. Third thing is something people don't really talk about when getting a fursuit. It's a drop crotch. A lot of full suits have a drop crotch, which I think is absolutely adorable. Now personally, I cannot have this. Why? Well, a drop crotch places the knees of the character far lower than your own, meaning the belly is extended. Now, lots of kids love petting fursuit characters' bellies, and the problem is that if they are eagerly petting your belly, there might be something else underneath that you do not want to get touched. Okay, but please be careful when suiting with a drop crotch. Keep in mind that if people want to pet you there, kindly redirect them a little bit higher up or to another place, or you can have little batches or things that say ask before touching, and then you can kind of guide them towards it's okay to touch you. The third thing might be a little bit stupid, but it's burping in fursuit. I know a lot of people don't think about it, but it happens and it sucks. Okay, I have a moving mouth. I burp in my suit from time to time, and oh boy, oh, it's bad. The smell stays in that head for so long, and you're just trying to have a conversation with someone, and all you can smell is just terrible things. God, it sucks. So that's the one thing that people don't think about. But when you have to burp in suit, there's basically not really anything you can do except for just... and that's it. Or you can take it off, which is the best way to solve it. But yeah, it sucks if it happens. Same thing with vomiting, and I'm so lucky that this never happened to me before, and I don't really know anyone where it happens. But if you vomit and you can't get your head off quick enough, which usually you feel when it's about to happen, so you can take it off. If you vomit in your suit head, it's gonna be a nightmare to clean. It's gonna be nearly impossible to get everything out there, and it's gonna smell for years. It would suck so bad. Thing is loss of movability. Now this really depends on which suit you have. I have a partial with Rika, so my movability is pretty much, it's quite good. But wearing a giant head still restricts your movability, especially the movement of your neck. You also can't see much, which a lot of people, when they get a fursuit, they do think about. They're like, my visibility is going to be worse when I have the head on. It's something you have to get used to for a very long time. So yeah, turning around, using your neck, kind of looking around, you have to put a lot of muscle into it to look around and observe your surroundings, which is really important when you fursuit. Now, if you have a full suit and you have very large padding or very large feet paws, your movability is going to be restricted, and it can take a while to get used to that and feel that it's okay, because it can feel really uncomfortable when you cannot fully move. Ravi has the giant ass tail prosthetic limb, and the harness restricts my movement so much. I can't do this. I mean, I can, but it hurts real bad. And I cannot bow down. I cannot sit down, barely. I can only sit down when I can move the tail in a certain direction. It's bad, especially when you're out suiting a whole day and you have to sit down for a bit and the freaking tail is there. Usually you have plush tails like Rika that you can just move around on your belt, but if you have a giant tail, you cannot just sit down everywhere. It's something you just don't think about, but it's important to keep in mind. Next thing is something that I haven't really heard much suitors talk about, and most of these rules are for when you don't have a fursuit, want one, or waiting to have one, or just got one, and it is not feeling the character right away. Now, you have a fursona, you love it to bits, and you finally get a suit of them, and you expect to pop that bad boy on your head and just instantly be transported in this magical world, and you are your character now. You are your fursona. You are transformed into this blue wolf creature, and everything just feels amazing. And you actually get your suit, and it doesn't happen. It just feels like a mask. That's okay. It happens, and that's fine. Sometimes your fursuit just feels like a mask, an accessory, part of your clothes. It doesn't feel like the character is coming to life. And that is okay. I have experienced this. I've also experienced the opposite, where I do put it on and I feel like, yay, I'm Rika, I'm so happy. I also do experience that a lot. But when you first get your suit and you put it on and you don't really feel it right away, that's fine. Some people never feel it. That's also fine. You can still have fun with your character, even though it feels just like a mask or a costume instead of actually representing your character. And you have to grow with your suit and your character. You have to grow into these things. And it'll happen on its own time. So don't panic if you put your suit on and it feels like a bunch of plastic materials and not just this lovely character that you care for so much. The next thing is white fur. Now you might ask yourself, Rika, what's wrong with white fur? And I think you can probably guess it. It's impossible for white fur to stay white. Now let me explain. You probably know what this is about, but never use white fur for your feet paws, hand paws, or bottom of your tail, because it won't stay white. It will get dirty so fast, and the cleanup and keep up of that suit will just be horrible. Now, what if your character has white feet or tail and you don't want to change them? That's fine, but keep in mind that you will have to be cleaning all of that thoroughly, not just brushing it with a fursuit spray, cleaning it out. No, you have to wash it every single time you wear the suit, even if you just go out for a couple of minutes. It's gonna get dirty, and if you don't clean it every time, the white is gonna get grayish, brownish, yellowish, and you don't want that to happen. So, if you want a fursuit and you have a character with like feet paws, tail, or hand paws are okay if you're careful what you're touching. Yeah, maybe see if you want to change that character, or be prepared to do a lot more cleaning and upkeep than other colors in fursuits. The last thing is breaking. And I'm gonna say something very sad, but your fursuit will break. I know, it sucks. Even if you got a very talented maker, wearing a suit, going around, doing stuff, it will break. And it did. All of my suits I had to patch up every once in a while. I had to re-glue those pearly whites of Rika so many times. I had to re-sew fur. I had to re-glue the ears. I had to re-glue the foam where my mouth lays on when I speak, so the mouth opens. I had to clean the eyes. It's mostly sewing work. Like Ravi is from 2019. I had to do so much sewing her back up because she just fall apart. And Ravi has been made by a very good and very talented maker, the Forgotten Imp. That quality was durable as hell. It's just, it will break down. No matter how good those seams are, no matter how good that glue is, it'll come loose. And you will probably have to fix it. Now, if you're like, hey Rika, I can't sew for shit. I cannot sew. I don't have a hot glue gun. I'm scared of messing up my fursuit. You can still contact your maker or other makers or friends and like, hey, can you sew? Would you like to help me with restoring my fursuit to its former glory? Now, if you get a fursuit, you might want to keep in mind that you can learn some sewing skills because by God, at some point, you're gonna need it. Alright, these were a few points that beginner fursuiters or people wanting a fursuit might not really immediately think about. I hope this helped, and if you want for me to make more informational videos or videos about my own experience working with fursuits and going outside suiting, please let me know because I'd love to make them for you. Alright, I hope you have a wonderful day.